It's November the 5th on Tuesday next week, and there will be fireworks here in the UK, in England, in the Derbyshire Dales, where I am walking now. It is Guy Fawkes Night, or Bonfire Night, which celebrates the attempt to blow up Parliament. Well, we have another recent incident of somebody trying to blow up not our Parliament, but the American Parliament, or at least Capitol Hill, just a few short years ago. And I think Mr. Trump is still, actually, I think he is still being taken before the courts after this election. Of course, you might have noticed there's an election in America on Tuesday as well. There will be fireworks, but I believe he's still being prosecuted for insurrection, no less. Have I got that right? My American cousins will correct me on this. I'm going to be treading on very thin ice here. I think I might lose both of my American viewers. But I tell you what's triggered this little homily on this Sunday morning before the American election. I've just sat in the car with a warm coffee after meditation, listening actually to a BBC Radio 4 programme called Sunday, and it's a very thoughtful consideration of the ethical issues, the religious issues around the election in America on Tuesday. And of course, as I understand it from a distance, of course, America, like Britain now, but America is very polarised, red and blue, Republican and Democrat. And this suits some politicians more than others. And I felt a duty of care, or a foolishness. I thought, after on this programme, the BBC interviewer, he interviewed first of all a professor of politics in the States, which was very helpful to me and gave both sides, or an understanding of both sides, where they're coming from. And then he interviewed a Christian pastor who has, like me, his own YouTube channel, except he's got a few 100 million viewers, I think. And so I thought, I felt compelled to put myself on the line, so to speak, and not just be a silent witness to what could be a very important outcome of the election in the States, across the pond, because of its impact, not just in the States and not just here in the UK, but worldwide. Now, I'm not going to go into this. Pastor, by the way, was extolling the virtues of Trump and Trumpism. Get this, not because of the qualities of the man himself, which are none, but because of his policies, which are divisive. You can tell which side of the divide. I can't pretend to be even-handed about this. My my American cousins, so you'll have to forgive me. And in a way, isn't this exactly what the dilemma is? By that I mean, we have different views, in this case political views, but it may be spiritual views or sexual views. But somehow we all have to find a way to live more or less together in the same society with very different views. Now, if I mouth off against how Trump is a flawed human being and not worthy of a single vote, I am simply, it seems to me, adding fuel to the flames. In other words, what it does, this polarisation, we end up throwing stones at each other's glass house, and if I indulge in that now, which I'm very tempted to do, I'm part of the problem. So help me, my friends, I really don't know the way round this. I'm treading round a very muddy path at the moment. And I think we all are. There's a lot of muddy paths going on in the world, and we're trying to pick our way when there's some really shitty things going down around us. And we, as humans, we want to make the best of the world. Now, one solution, we could do what Dora Strauch did. She abandoned her country and her marriage and went off with her lover, Dr. Love, Frederick, I think his name was, to a remote Galapagos island, Floriana, to basically, which is otherwise uninhabited, to create their own society, their own life together. They were deeply in love. She didn't even leave a note for her misogynistic husband, who she ill-advisedly married. And so they were dropped off. It's 600 miles off the coast of Ecuador, this Floriana island. And it was, I mean, it scared the life out of me, actually, because I know I'm in the middle of civilisation, at least the Derbyshire Dales, in my tiny house. But in a way, the sentiment is similar. Let's live differently. Well, it turned out very badly for Dora and Frederick. And it became quite a scandal, or what you might call clickbait. And because their love letters or letters back home were intercepted and they became public property, they got unwanted visitors on their paradise island, Floriana. And it ended up with murder, or a mystery. Frederick's death is a mystery, apparently. Anyway, there is a film about this, a documentary film with a narration in part by Kate Blanchett, called The Galapagos Affair, based on Dora Strauch's book called When Satan Visited Eden, or Eden Visited by Satan, something like that. Look it up. I've not read it. I have looked to see if I can find the documentary film to view. It was on Apple TV, but no longer. I wonder if there's some copyright issues. Anyway, that's by the way. If anybody knows how I can watch the Galapagos affair, I'd be pleased to know. So, am I sounding a bit breathless? I've only walked a little bit downhill through the woods. Back to the plot. It's fireworks day on Tuesday. And of course, I am nailing my colours to the mast on this one. In any formulation of a decent, honest society, it's just beyond me how a convicted felon and liar can be regarded as worthy of anybody's vote. So there we are. I've come off the fence on that one. But as I alluded to just earlier, there's a sort of even a bigger decision to be made, it seems to me, as we are all now so intimately interconnected and things get reported or virtually instantaneously. I shall probably put this out this afternoon before the election, because I feel, in a way, it would be abandoning my responsibilities to make my views or my queries known, so that when I'm asked in future which way did I, or what did I have to say about the outcome of the American election, and if I was mute, I'm sort of complicit in the outcome. So good luck, my American cousins. I have had some conversations with American friends like Scott and Cindy when I stayed with them in Costa Rica. So I do have a little understanding, perhaps, of why Trump is seen as the alternative to the American political elite. So if you've got a gripe, again, you know, if you're on the wrong side of the tracks in the States, and you've got a standard bearer like Trump saying fuck it's everybody else's problem that have caused this, whether it be the elite in Washington or the cities, or of course illegal immigrants. This is the classic right wing. It's the same in Britain. Goodness me. The Conservative Party have just elected our first black woman leader of the Conservative Party, the Republicans, to you Americans. And it's a massive lurch to the right. And it's the same shrunken philosophy that whatever problems we are experiencing in our life or in our society or in our country, it's the fault of immigrants. And this is what I call othering. And don't get me going on this, because I will speak out of turn, but as soon as you other people, you are on a very slippery slope. First of all, it's very conceited because you are an other to, for example, we white male colonialists spelt big trouble to many countries around the world with our British imperialism in the past 150 years. Our king Charles has just visited the Commonwealth summit or conference, whatever it's called, and there's a clamour from the, I think it's still 30 odd nations in the Commonwealth. Don't know how that works out. And he has declined to talk about reparations. It's it's all kicking off. You see, this is what happens when you other any group, any skin colour, any religious persuasion, any political view, any philosophical view, any religious view. You might be othering me right now because I find Trumpism unpalatable and indefensible. You might want to wish bad things on me because I have that conviction. But of course, I look in a mirror and I probably do the same with Trump supporters or with different football teams. I attended an all-day online conference this time last Saturday actually, with Ian McGilchrist and Elizabeth Oldfield, talking about the future of humanity, no less. Oh yes. And I have to tell you, it was pretty gloomy. It was pretty gloomy. And the best that we could come up with between us, there were a lot of people there in person in London, but also online. The best we could come up with was to be kind, tick, and speak your sincere truth, but without judgment. Now that sounds a bit wishy-washy, doesn't it? But you just try it. And the consensus was that at a time of severe internal stresses and strains, both in our countries and in the world, the most valuable, not conciliatory, but almost radical thing you can do is to speak your sincere truth without judgment, which hopefully is what I'm attempting to do in my little contribution. Happy November the 5th. I must add a little sort of dark aftertaste note. One of the speakers at this Future of Humanity event last Saturday was a Belgian professor of psychology, I think, Professor Matthias Desmet, who I've not come across before, but he has written a book, I think it's called The Psychology of Totalitarianism, and he studied political movements to extract their DNA, and I don't want to put too much of a prophetic note as to where we might be heading after the November the 5th election, or indeed other elections in Europe where the right are in the ascendant. But he shocked me with his observation, academic observation, that in the case of Stalin in Russia in 1930 and Hitler in Germany in 1935, there was only a period of about 6 months in each case between passing new laws othering people, whether it be different colours of skin or different religious persuasions. It was only 6 months before the killing started, and in a totalitarian state, the only thing that really could have headed it off. The only thing that could have headed it off at the pass was for ordinary citizens like you and me to, as he says, speak your sincere truth without judgment or rancour. And this is, he suggests, the antidote to totalitarianism and that which follows. Make of that what you will. Speak your sincere truth. I just have.